What's up, gents? So the other day, I get a letter. It reads like this. Antonio, I'm 18, and after watching Real Men, Real Style, Alpha M, Teaching Men's Fashion, Gentleman's Gazette, I am overwhelmed with this treasure trove of life-saving knowledge. That being said, I'm overwhelmed. I'm single, awkward, and lazy. What should I focus on? Well, first up, Brady, thanks for asking the question and for having the courage to critically assess the current situation of your life. Don't be so hard on yourself. Oftentimes, we are our own worst critics. We look at a situation and we focus in on the negative. We think things are worse off than they actually are. Now, first up, I want to talk about some of the words you use to describe yourself and how you can change direction. So first up, being lazy. Well, guess what? Join the club. I think it's human nature for most of us to want to lounge and to lay back and to just relax. I know I want to sleep in on the weekends. I enjoy just drinking a coffee with my wife. And this can go on for hours and I can get nothing done during the day. And it has happened. But here's the thing. I also try to set up habits. And guys, I've got tons of books I've talked about in the past. We've got Atomic Habits. We've also got Change Anything. I've got The Power of Habit. Any of those books right there will work for you, but I highly advise you grab one of them and you learn that everything we do really can be broken down into small steps and that you can program yourself. Yes, just like a computer, to when you wake up to have a habit, because you've already got some habits. And it sounds like in your mind, most of these habits you perceive as negative. And that's why we think we're lazy. And when you realize, okay, all I have to maybe do is exercise for 1 minute a day. I have a friend, all he does is one push-up a day. At least that's what he says he starts with. But when he does that one push-up, he knocks through a lot more. He does a series of calisthenics. He was a very successful high school wrestler, but he fell out of training. And it's just something got busy as a computer programmer. But he understands that once he gets started, and he developed that starting habit. And that's what I want you to think about. Think about, how am I going to lose half a pound? Because that's a lot more achievable. And you could actually do that in a day just by simply cutting back on your water, going for a run, sweating a lot. But that's where you start. Getting started is one of the most powerful habits to help you overcome this perception that you're lazy. Now, guys, I know you've got an opinion. I want to hear it down in the comments. What advice would you have given this young man? What books maybe would you have recommended that he go out there and read? Now let's talk about being single. So you're 18 years old. I think you got a little bit of time in front of you. If you're 80 years old, yeah, at the twilight of your life, this would maybe be a bigger issue. But let's address the elephant in the room is, does a man actually need to have a partner throughout life to be happy? My answer is no. If you look throughout history, there were many people that were able to live happy, fulfilling lives by themselves. They simply had a great network of friends. They had a community. They found a way to actually never feel lonely. That being said, I think for the majority of us, we do want to have a life partner. If that is you, then what you need to work on is yourself at this point. And even if you're 38, if you're 58, and you just find, hey, I can't seem to have relationships the last 20, 30 years, let's take a critical step back and let's look at ourselves and say, is it because I'm not open to relationships? Is it that I need to work on things about me? Maybe psychologically, I just don't have a great book right here. It doesn't really have much to do with relationships, but it does have to do with influencing and building relationships with other people. A great one right here. Or maybe just simply you need to work on your self-care. Maybe you're 22 years old and you smell and no one's told you this yet. I'm not saying that you do smell, but it could be something as simple as, hey, let's work on looking like someone that people want to be around, because people do judge, people make quick decisions, and you want to have something to offer. That's what people are looking for in a partnership. You're looking for that. You're looking for someone, maybe physical relationship. You want something that, hey, they mentally stimulate you. They make you laugh. You've got your list, whether you know it or not, and you want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. And I'll tell you that focusing in on yourself, becoming the best man that you can be, that is the most important step to finding what you're looking for. Next up, you described yourself as awkward. I don't see this as a bad thing at all. You're awkward when you're trying something new, when you're putting yourself out there and you don't necessarily have the confidence and the ability to yet back it up, and you're worried about what other people are going to think. I was watching The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. Remember that when he transitioned over to baseball, he went from the top of the world at basketball, being the top athlete in that sphere, to all of a sudden starting close to the bottom on baseball. And they talked about how his swing was really awkward. He would miss. I mean, he just had a lot of things that he had to retrain his body for. And And he never did reach the point, but you know what? He said, I am going to be awkward. I'm going to be a little bit embarrassed. I'm going to make some mistakes and hold grudges against Sports Illustrated. Point being is this guy he put himself out there and he took a chance. And that's what you're doing because you're going out there and you're trying these new things. So don't look at yourself as awkward. Just view yourself as uncoordinated. And every successful basketball player or athlete that was a wrestler, whenever they went through a growth spurt, whenever they were uncoordinated. And this is something you just got to train your body up. You got to put in the work. Another book I highly recommend, Grit by Angela Duckworth. What I like about this one is she talks about the importance of actually being able to bounce back and get through that awkward phase by putting in the work, by putting in the effort. She has so many great examples she cites, and she talks about so many things that, well, they're common sense once you read them, but you realize that it's not talked about because we see these people achieving greatness and we think they naturally started that way. They did not. Everyone I know that has achieved success has gone through that awkward phase, and congratulations, because this means that you're putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. And now let's talk about the problem of being overwhelmed. First up, understand you are not alone. You talk to anyone, people are just buried under problems. It seems the world just wants to give us all this information, the vast majority of it negative, and bury us under this. So what do? First up, you've got to identify what's important and you've got to make the priority the first thing. I highly recommend you leverage the power of the priority matrix. I've talked about it before and I'll link to a free priority matrix down in the description of today's video. But over to the left, notice I'm going to have important and then right below it, non-important. The top part, I'm going to have urgent and non-urgent. So basically, I've got 4 areas that I can put everything that needs to be done. Now, for me, there are 3 specific reasons why the priority matrix works. First up, it only takes 5 minutes to lay out all the things that you've got to do today and just focus on today. You don't have to think the rest of the week. And you're able to get that stuff out of your head. Very important that you just spend that 5 minutes. Doesn't take a whole lot of time. Next up, you actually have to rank things because you've got to choose where it goes. You're going to find a lot of things which you thought you had to get done. You realize it's not that important, even though it's screaming urgent, and you put it in that lower category. And the third reason why this works is all of a sudden you're able to focus in on what truly matters. Those 1 to 2 things that are incredibly urgent and very important. Everything else can fall to the wayside. Yes, this is screaming to respond to this person on social media, to get back to that phone call, but you realize, hey, it's not really that important compared with these other things. And that is the key, to do what needs to be done in the order that it needs to be done. Pretty simple, right? And if the priority matrix is too simple, you want something a little bit more detailed of how to get more time out of your day. Not only to be more productive, but to identify what really matters. I highly recommend this book right here. Just a great read and goes into how you can basically get more out of not just your days, but your life. Brady, if you take nothing else from this video, know that I care about you, that I want to see you succeed. When I read the way you described yourself, this skinny kid going off to college with all these issues, you're describing me. And so many of us can look back even just a year ago and see, hey, I have come so far. And that's what I love about what I can do with this channel and the information here. If you take it and just apply a fraction of it, you can become the man you know yourself to be. Check out this coin I put together right here, which, by the way, Brady, send me a note. Let me know that you watched this video and that you've taken action on at least one step, and I will send you this coin absolutely free, because here's the thing. I care about you guys, and I want you to take this information and to go out there and just act on a small portion of it, because when you do that, when you take these actions, all of a sudden you start stepping in the direction, and nothing motivates a man like progress. And when you start seeing that progress, together we are making this world a better place. So what video to watch next? Well, how about the books that transformed my life? In this video right here, I lay out some of my favorite books that have really made me who I am today.